Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. It appears that I've made some enemies of the denizens of the end. I thought that taking out the Martian Mafia would be the end of my problems, but it appears that I have angered some others. I figure I have a couple of choices. One is to wait for these things to come after me. The other is to take the fight directly to them. That, of course, is easier said than done. Throughout the course of my earlier travels through dungeons, I came across a few different things. One of them are these adventurers' diaries. When I use one of these, as you can see here, I'm given a page of a diary. And you can see that there are those pages that are missing. There's a total of 16 pages. As you can see, I now have page 1. Each one of these that I find gives me another page in the diary. And that story that it tells will probably help me to take out the denizens of the end. Sadly though, as you can see, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these diary pages, which means I'm missing 10 of them. The other thing I found are these knowledge notes. As you can see, they have various numbers of knowledge points. And when I use these, I gain a number of knowledge points, which are used in this Ender Compendium. Here you can see my knowledge points. I have a total of 67. So if I take another one of these knowledge points, say this one for 8, and use it, you'll now see I have 75 knowledge points. And these knowledge points are used, I believe, to give me information about various things. So, example, here's the information about the adventurer's diary that I need those extra pages on. But here's some information about Enderman, and you can see there's text that is hidden from me until I use a number of points. And so ideally, I'd want to go through and unlock all of this information that's in this Ender Compendium. I don't know if I have to unlock it all, but I can imagine that unlocking as much of it as possible will give me an advantage when I take on the end. Now, as I said, I'm still missing 10 of these adventurer diary pages, and I could probably use some more of the knowledge. I don't know exactly how many points of knowledge I'm going to need. The problem is that these items are only found in the dungeon chests. And that, of course, means exploring, finding more dungeons, battling my way through those monsters, and looting the chests. Yeah, I'm a little too lazy for that. So instead, I am going to do something else. And what I'm going to do has to do with Botania. In Botania, there is a flower which is called the Loonium. You can see here the Loonium says, any weary adventurer knows that dungeons can hold valuable goodies. The Loonium can, at the use of an extreme amount of flower power, materialize these items and drop them in the nearby vicinity. Essentially, the Loonium acts as, well, it doesn't really act as a dungeon chest, but it can provide you with the materials that you find in a dungeon chest. So, I think what my next goal is going to be to make a Loonium, or 2 or 3, depending, but I'm going to need to supply it with a large amount of flower power. And currently, I'm not really producing a lot of flower power. If you look over here at my ore production, this is the ores that are being produced is on a fairly slow scale, using just the charcoal farm and the exoflames, or the endoflames, I believe they're called. So it really doesn't generate a lot of flower power, but I've been okay with it because I have so much resources that I didn't really need to worry about it. But this is going to require, this Loonium is going to require an extreme amount of mana. I don't know how much that is, but I'm going to need a way to produce lots of flower power as quickly as I possibly can in order to power this Loonium. So I'm going to work on that. I think I'll build an entirely new greenhouse to house it in, maybe over in that area somewhere. And I'm going to work on that, and I'll show it to you when it's done. Alright, this is the setup that I have come up with, or that I'm going to use, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to say come up with as in I designed it and I came up with the idea. I'm just saying this is what I'm going to be using in order to generate the dungeon loot. It took quite a while, just a lot of time crafting stuff, and used up a lot of flower power, so it took a while to get to this point. But anyway, and I'll also say that ever since putting this in, I'm getting very, very low frame rate. So if this video is choppy, because the frame rate's even lower when recording, of course, then I apologize. But it doesn't seem to be much that I can do about it. My computer isn't super, super powerful. So basically, this is a pretty basic kind of an idea. There's a blood magic serenade of the nether, which creates the lava. And then I've got 8 thermal lilies around each one of these lava source blocks. So they all generate flower power. Each of those 8 will feed into a central mana spreader, which has got a potency mana lens on it, so that it will send out mana bursts, a little bit stronger mana bursts, I guess. I may need to upgrade those to include velocity, because as you can see, the mana spreader is full, which means that these thermal lilies are producing faster than the spreader is sending it to the mana pool here. I do know that with the velocity it's a little bit overkill, but I may go ahead and do that. It doesn't take much to make that, so I might go ahead and do that a little bit later. Oh, you can see that just then it did generate some stuff, so let's jump up here. I haven't built a frame of any kind around this yet. I will do so. I needed to get it running because just because. I'll explain that here, I guess, in a minute. So this up here, I've got 2 Looniums, one here and one here on either side of the mana pool, and of course they both will generate dungeon loot, and then this vacuum chest sucks up whatever it is they generate, because whatever they generate just gets dropped onto the ground. It doesn't place it into adjacent chests or anything like that. It just drops it right next to it. And so that's basically it. This vacuum chest will gather up whatever items the Looniums create. Now, you can already see here I've gotten a knowledge note, and you can see all the different kinds of stuff that I've gotten so far since I've started this running. Hasn't been running for very long, but it does seem to work pretty good. You can see there's some redstone. The Loonium will generate anything that's been categorized as dungeon loot, which means I'm going to get everything from every mod that adds in dungeon loot, as well as the vanilla stuff. So I can't make it create the items that I want out of the dungeon loot. It's just going to create random dungeon loot, and you can see that's exactly what it's doing. So the next part of this, I will use conduits and Ender IO to pull the items out of this vacuum chest, send them to a place, and then I'll decide what to do with them from there. Certain things I'll keep, like the quartz, and maybe not the ender pearls because I have so many of those. Might keep the dark steel, might keep the mana steel, golden apples. Other things that I don't really necessarily need to keep, like the saddles, the ender swords, these binding agents, things that I'm not really using, I may just have some way of just eliminating them, deleting those items. Because as you can see, this is working. It's generating items, fairly quickly. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But primarily I'm looking for these knowledge notes, and I'm looking for the adventurer diary pages. These other items, the ones that I'll keep, will just be like a bonus, if you will. So there you go. That's the setup. I haven't built a greenhouse around this yet because I wanted to get the core of it working and make sure it was all set up the way I wanted it to be. That's sort of critical, because I need to have this running, basically as long as possible, for it to generate as much stuff as possible, so that I will eventually get the things that I'm looking for. And yeah, so that's basically about it at this point in time. As I said, I'll build a framework around this. I think I will go ahead and create some potency lenses and combine them with, or some velocity lenses, I should say, and combine them with the potency lenses that are already on the mana spreaders. That will help transmit flower power even faster. But as you can see, it's creating a lot of flower power, it's transmitting a lot of flower power, it's doing really great, and those two Looniums are creating items, which is also really nice. Okay, welcome back, and I have finished building a little greenhouse for the Looniums. Yeah, it's not very impressive. I can't say I put a lot of effort into it. Apologize for that. I did put in a travel anchor so I could get to it quickly. And as always with any lava, I'm getting the Lycanites mobs spawning in the lava. I can't really do anything about that. But the Looniums are creating items, and it's working. So far I have gotten about 5 or 6 of these knowledge notes. And I went ahead and used some of them and started unlocking some things in the in the compendium. Don't know what I should or shouldn't work on. There's a lot of explanations of things, but not really a guide, I would say, as to what I should be doing or what I should be looking for. So it's a little bit strange. But I have not gotten any adventurer diary pages. In addition, I am keeping a few of the things that come through that I think, you know, might be important or whatever. Although most of the stuff is ending up in here, and with a flick of this switch, that all gets dumped out and just destroyed. So I've had this running for a while, and as I said, I haven't gotten any of the diary pages. So, not sure if it's working or if it's possible to get the diary pages through that process. It could also be that the diary pages are extremely rare. I don't know. It's something I'm not sure about, is how to kind of figure out what the rarity is of the items, or what the chances are of finding them. I'm not exactly sure about that. However, I have discovered that it's possible to find a librarian that might do some trading, and you can get some of the diary pages from a librarian. The problem with that is there's this village that's fairly close to where my base is, and other than that, you can see I've just made some forays out, and I haven't seen any other villages in, you know, a pretty good distance around here. So that's kind of a bummer, because this tiny village does not have any librarians. There is, let's see, there's nobody in here, I believe. Nope. We got any? Oh, hit the button. Don't do that. Is there anybody in here? No, not right now. It's daytime. They're probably all out and about. Yeah, so there's I believe that's a priest villager. And this is a farmer villager, and another farmer villager, and I think this is the butcher villager. And I believe those 4 guys are the only villagers in this tiny little village. So no librarian. So what I thought I would try to see is if I can capture a villager in a soul vial. And yeah, I think I'm going to try and cake one of the farmers. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Oh! Aha! I did. I captured a villager. So one question I have is, will I always get the same villager back out? Ooh, he's off and running. He didn't like being captured. So he trades an emerald for an apple. If I catch him again, come back. I got him. And he seems to be the same. Okay. What I wanted to see, what if I could do... Wow, that was a badly constructed sentence. What I wanted to see... Okay. I want to see if it's possible... I don't know where my English skills went for a minute there. I want to see if it's possible to build a spawner with the villager. Now, if it's going to spawn the exact same villager over and over, then that's not going to do me any good. But I was wondering if the spawner would create different types of villagers, and I could use the spawner to maybe get a librarian. That's kind of the idea. So I'm going to head back to my base and put that idea to the test. Well, bad news. I am trying to click this broken spawner into the spot here, which would allow me to combine the broken spawner with the villager soul vial, and it doesn't work. And I just did a check on it, and apparently that is sort of a default behavior. The creator of the mod probably doesn't think it's fair that you could be able to create a villager spawner. And that makes sense. I believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe that you can modify or change an entry in the config file so that you can create a spawner with a villager. I am not going to change that. I, for the most part, will try to utilize the default settings of a config from a mod maker. My theory on that is that's kind of the way that the mod maker envisioned the mod being used, and I really just don't want to change it. So, you know, that doesn't mean I haven't changed things in the past. Obviously, when I feel things have to be changed for whatever reason, then I will go ahead and do it. But in this particular instance, I'm going to sort of respect the ideas of the mod maker that making a villager spawner is probably a little bit overpowered and, you know, probably just not a good thing in general. So that's going to leave me with relatively few choices. The first being to see, well, I guess I don't really have few choices. I have 3 different choices. I could keep going and looking for another village to see if I can find another librarian. I could wait and hope that this setup will create the diary pages, or I could just bite the bullet and go looking for the diary pages in some dungeons. And honestly, I'm not sure which one of those options I like the best. Okay, well, this was sort of unplanned. I didn't think about it, but it turns out there's a village not too far north of my base, a really small village again. You can see on the map here it's only, what is that, 3 buildings. But it turns out that one of the buildings contains a librarian, and I just let him out. So there he is. I'll have to see how this works as far as the training goes. I've not done this to see about the diary pages. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use the soul vial. I need to get out of here before some zombies show up and kill those guys. But, oh, I'm going the wrong way. I need to get my map back. So I hadn't planned for this, so I'm going to head back to my base and grab the soul vial so I can bring that villager back to my base. Woo! I didn't have the recording going. Wish I did. When I got back to the village, it was a mess. Not so much with zombies, although there were a couple, but I'd say there was about a dozen wither witches and the wither cats with them, and they were just swarming me, and then a few creepers as well. It was crazy. So I was really afraid I was going to lose this guy, but I didn't, and I've got him back here. I've put him in the house, so he'll be, you know, somewhat moderately comfortable. I mean, there is a bed and a crafting table and some windows. I did put on an iron door so he can't get out. Yeah, you are kind of a prisoner. Hate to tell you that. So anyway, let's see what we can do with trades. So we're going to start off with 28 paper. And obviously everybody knows how to trade with villagers, so we're just going to see how this works out. Again, I don't know how this works as far as diary pages. So we'll take the emerald, and unfortunately I have the, where is it at? Particles. I have the particles turned off. So I wouldn't see. There you go. I keep the particles turned off because of this. It just gets annoying for me when I'm playing normally. So I usually keep the particles off to hide the particle effects from all these things I got going on. All right. So what did we unlock here? 10 emeralds for a clock. That's a pretty darn expensive clock, buddy. I don't like that at all. But again, it's not really about a clock. It's about finding those diary pages. So let's get 10 emeralds. And, yeah, nice try. You're not getting out of here. All right, 10 emeralds for a clock. There we go. And let's have you reset to another trade. There we go. What do we have now? Aha! 5 emeralds for a diary page. Excellent. That worked out really a lot easier than I thought. Now, did I figure this out? How many pages? I think I said I needed 10 pages, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Yeah, I think I need 10 pages. So I should just go ahead and take a stack of these emeralds just in case. So let's see if I can get lucky and get 10 pages from him. I seriously doubt it, but you know, you never know. And oh, these are going to fill up my inventory. I didn't even think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 of them. Whew, okay. I don't want that, so that's... Can I get that? Oh, it won't let me take one more. No, 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 no. That's going to be the end of the trading. Oh, shoot, shoot, shoot. Alright, let's go and see what we got here. Oh, this still says I can do it. Can I get one more? Ooh, I got another one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 again. Maybe I screwed something up last time. That's 9. And that should be 10, right? Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I apologize, I'm counting a lot, but apparently I'm not very good at this. Alright, whoa, whoops. So, if that's the case, then I should have this complete diary, right? That's what I would think, right? So there's page 1, page 2, and I have not done this with the rest of these, so let's go ahead and let's go put these emeralds back and see how well this works here. Okay, so that's page 3. Put that there. Alright, and let me go through these pages real quick. Okay, I did indeed have the right number of pages. I've got all 16. Unlocked them all by clicking on them. So let's go ahead and read through this diary, see what it says. Start at page 1. This could be it. Finally found another stronghold. Maybe this one will be more fortunate. And it was. After months of searching, there I stood with the portal before me deactivated, but still there. There were a few empty slots for missing Eyes of Ender. Thankfully, I had enough on me to activate it. I hardly stood there for a second before plunging into it. This was the moment. I was finally going to kill it. After what seemed like hours, the dragon was dead. I nearly died at the very beginning when I destroyed the first crystal. No one had told me they dropped a bomb when you do that. I knew the Endermen wouldn't take kindly to me destroying the crystals, but I guess the crystals didn't either. Although I had killed it, I was still poisoned, bleeding, and close to death. There were holes and craters dotted around the end, where the dragon had swooped down towards me. The floor was littered with a strange purple essence. I picked it up and examined it. I decided to keep it with me, but I didn't enter the portal to go home just yet. With my head down, I carefully walked over to the egg, now lying where the beast fell. After examining it, I tapped it with my sword, and all of a sudden it seemed to feel safe. Maybe it would be possible for me to... My mission here was complete, yet the adventuring blood in me stopped me from leaving right away. I glanced around the inn. What caught my eyes was the smaller floating islands dotted around the main one. Upon closer inspection, the smaller islands had weird cave-like holes containing patches of a strange purple powder. Maybe it was the same thing as the purple essence I found before. Perhaps this is the raw form of the same material. After jumping back through the portal, I took my backpack off to take out the purple powder to examine it further. However, it has all vanished. Even stranger, my collection of ender pearls had started glowing. Perhaps the purple powder had something to do with it. I visited a nearby village the next day and showed the pearls to a scientist. After taking a quick look, he told me they've gained special abilities. At that point, he also noticed the essence I attained from the dragon, glanced behind him, then leaned in and whispered that he's got something special. Downstairs, he rummaged through a chest and took out a weird block. It looked similar to an enchanting table, but instead of a book, it displayed what seemed to be the dragon essence. He said he didn't know what it was, and wondered if I could figure it out. When I got home, I placed the altar down. The moment I did that, all the essence I had was swallowed up by it. I carefully walked towards it, but as I did, both my armor and sword got repaired. I wonder what else this altar can do. It's been a few months since I last wrote in this, but I feel this is linked. This morning I went caving, and in a dungeon I found what I first thought was an Eye of Ender. However, this one was purple. When I got home, the egg started shaking as if both objects were connected. I picked up both and went back to the stronghold with the end portal, and jumped through it again. The purple Eye of Ender started vibrating again, and in a massive puff of smoke I was teleported to a bright temple that looked just like the stronghold's portal room, only made of pale stone. Before the portal was a black pedestal. I placed the egg on it carefully. The last things I remember were the egg slowly floating upwards, then a cataclysmic explosion. I woke up in my bed. Today's the day where I slay the beast. I have prepared my items, and I have my Eyes of Ender. Now it's time to find and activate the portal. Huh. That's almost like we're going all the way back to the beginning. Very strange. But there's also a lot of clues in this, and I'm really glad that I did get all of the pages. For example, one thing that's interesting is that he manages to get... Well, we talk about this. He talks about this purple essence he finds after killing the dragon. And then he manages to get the dragon's egg with his sword, which is not normally how you get the dragon's egg. He also mentions a stranger purple Eye of Ender, and I found something like that right here. I found that in one of the dungeons. And it seems like he did something with that and with the dragon egg. So, as I said, a lot of information revealed, and it's good that I got all of these pages. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode. I will search for the stronghold and find it before the next episode. And in the next episode, I'll head through to take on the denizens of the end. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next time.